Hi, my name is Nick Caruso, and this is a video showing AutoStore's enterprise capture capabilities to capture content from a wide range of input sources. I'm going to be using the concept of an expense report submission workflow to get across this concept. So I'm going to talk about Tom Ridge, who is submitting an expense report, and Leslie Hunt, who is in accounting, who needs to receive all that content associated with the report. Tom can use email, fax, paper content through scanners and multifunction devices, mobile devices, and also upload expense report content through the web. So he has lots of different options based upon where he is at the time. He could be at his office, on his laptop, on the road with his mobile device, or using a web browser. So lots of different ways to process that expense report and submit it. So let's go through some of these different options. I'm going to be showing you a PowerPoint presentation first, and then I'm going to show you live an actual use of this technology through these different steps. So Tom can may have electronic documents that he needs to submit, and he can use a web browser to upload those documents, or he can use a thick client on his Windows desktop to submit that content. He can also be on the road, so he can use his mobile device and capture pictures of potential receipts, or even emails while he's on the road that he needs to submit through his expense report process. And finally, he, of course, will have some paper-based content, and he might have lots of documents, so he can use desktop scanners or multifunction devices to scan those documents and to submit them into a workflow. So again, just go through these different examples. It could be electronic documents coming in via email that need to be submitted through an expense report. It could be pictures of receipts while he's on the road. And then he may, of course, have paper-based receipts. So 3 different ways to capture content, lots of different options. So let's first look at electronic file capture. So at NSI we have a capability where you can log in through a web interface and fill out metadata fields and upload documents through that web interface. So this is a zero footprint. All you need is a web browser. And this is an HTML5 web browser and provides a really simple, streamlined way of uploading content through a web interface. This can be a publicly accessible web interface, or it can be private to the corporate intranet. We also have a thick client where you can right-click on files and send them through the exact same workflow as if you were just on that web interface. So using a thick client is great if you're doing batch processing. You may have lots of documents, or you may want to be able to take an email from within Outlook or Lotus Notes and forward that email through the exact same workflow as what I just shared with you through the web interface. Again, I'm going to show you a very interactive presentation of this in just a few minutes. I'm just going through a quick PowerPoint here. The next option is through mobile. So Tom can be on the road, and the exact same form, the exact same workflows that were available to him processing those electronic documents, he can do on his mobile device. So he can take pictures of a receipt and submit them through the same workflow as if he was back at his desk using the clients that I previously talked about. And lastly, paper-based documents. Certainly those expense reports from hotel bill receipts and some other receipts, he can capture those documents and process them on a desktop scanner. And so we have a client at NSI called Quick Capture that is a thick client. It interfaces through Twain and ISIS drivers to your desktop scanner, and you can go and process through the same form that you had on the mobile device and through your Outlook or Lotus or web interface. So lots of different ways to capture different types of content. And lastly, you can use your multifunction device. We'd like to turn a multifunction device into an interactive kiosk, which allows you to have, again, the exact same workflows that you could do through your desktop scanner, mobile, and different capture sources. The multifunction device really provides a nice, rich user experience, provides a kiosk-like experience to make it really simple to process workflows. So in summary, we can process content through electronic documents, mobile devices, and desktop scanners or multifunction devices. So I'm going to show you now a live demonstration using AutoStore processing disparate documents across a wide range of capture sources. The demo I'm going to show you is using the AutoStore solution framework, which means that it's very easy to demonstrate, and this is a solution that comes out of the box with AutoStore. It's a pre-configured solution. So I'm on my desktop here, and I'm going to pretend I'm Tom Ridge, and I just received a Southwest receipt, so a Southwest Airlines trip receipt. I want to kick that off into a new expense workflow. So I'm going to right click on that file. I can say click on Send to AutoStore, Send to Expense, and I can start a new report or append to an existing report. And I'm going to do this over and over again throughout the workflow. I'm going to say new report since I'm just starting a new expense report. And when I do that, it's going to prompt me for my employee ID, and this can be pre-populated based upon my login profile, but I'm going to pretend I'm employee number 553, and this is going to be my trip to New York City. The trip is going to be from August 22nd or 27th through the 30th. This is a receipt, this is today's date, and I'm going to go ahead and hit submit. It was just that simple, so I was able to submit my first document in this workflow, and I was able to create a new expense report and attach this document to that workflow. Now let me show you what it's going to look like to the accountant that's going to be receiving this workflow, or the person that's going to be processing expense reports. So I have open here a view, and this is just a simulated view of a person that's processing these expense reports. And I'm just using a folder structure here. This could be SharePoint, it could be a line of business system, it could be a content management system. This is just to simulate that concept. So when I created that new expense report, it automatically created a new folder in here. Trip to New York City with those dates. I can open it up, and here's my receipt, and with the Southwest trip ticket on it. So it's just that simple to do, and let me show you again how we can get it from. Now pretend that this is on another person's location. This is at another corporate destination, and I'm going to do this process again. Send to expense, new report. I'm employee 453. This report title, let's just say it's a trip to Las Vegas. I'm going to specify my dates, so the 1st through maybe the 6th, and I'm going to go ahead and hit submit. And what you'll see here in just a few seconds, a new entity will pop up based upon Las Vegas, and it's now in here. Again, I'm representing here the back end of the business process here. Somebody else would be reviewing this. They can go in here, see its receipt, and so forth. So that was one way of submitting the documents using what we call AutoCapture, which is this client that I can right-click on a file. It's a plugin on Windows. I can right-click on a file and submit through a workflow. So this is a thick client. It requires a small application to be installed on everybody's desktops, and that can be cumbersome, especially for a big enterprise. So we also have a thin client, which means it's a web-based client that allows you to go through the exact same workflow as if you were through a web interface. So this web interface is called Web Capture, and I can see the exact same workflows. Except I'm in Internet Explorer right now. I can append a document to an existing report, since I already created the first one, and I can put in my employee ID. This can be automatically populated based upon I'm logging in. It came back and it found 3 records associated with the employee ID 453. So this is my trip to New York City. I can specify what document this is. This is a receipt, today's date, and I can go ahead and upload a document through this web interface through this exact same workflow. So in this case, I'm going to say the Southwest receipt and hit send. And again, it's going to go through the exact same workflow as what I showed you before, except this time the capture source is the web interface. So that concludes the demonstration of showing you how we can use a thick application within Windows or a thin application through a web interface to capture content. Now let's use the scenario where we're on the road and we need to capture content using mobile devices. So I have a webcam pointing to my iPhone here, and I'm logged into NSI Mobile. The mobile is just an app on your phone, and your first time you log in or open the app, it's going to prompt you to log in. I can click on Activities, and I'll have the exact same workflows that were previously exposed to me through those different capture sources. So I can click on Send Expense, Existing Report. When I click on that, it's going to automatically default to the report that I had just created. So that's an automatic default, but I can go ahead and do a lookup as well. So if I had wanted to look up the reports associated to myself, I can look it up, pick up the search results, see, yep, my trip to New York City is the one that I'm appending this report to, and my document type, or this expense to, is going to be my receipt. And I can go ahead and click on Add Files, I can take a picture from my camera. Maybe I already took a picture of the receipt, so I can say get picture from album. I'm going to select it from my photo, and I have that. Now that file name will get renamed automatically by AutoStore, and I can go ahead and submit this when I'm done. So it's going to submit that and submit it through the workflow. So I started with that Southwest receipt. That was an electronic document. I've now captured something on my mobile device. Also, sometimes when you're on the road, you get email receipts. So I'm going to show you that workflow here. I'm going to open up my email client, and I have an email here, and this is a receipt for a hotspot. So this is quite common. So it's a digital receipt. I can see this is my hotspot receipt. I can click on this button on the top right, and it says I can open it up in NSI Mobile. So I'm going to take that receipt, open it up in NSI Mobile, and then go through the same process again. Send expense, existing expense report, and it's going to default to the last report I just had selected. This is a receipt, today's date, and I can hit submit. So I can take attachments and emails and very easily forward them through the exact same workflows. So using NSI Mobile is a really great way to extend a capture workflow to capture pictures as well as attachments that are coming in through your email, as well as attachments in any other application on your mobile device. So I talked about capturing electronic documents. I just showed you capturing mobile documents, and let's end this up with how we can capture paper documents. We have two ways of doing that. We can use a desktop or production scanner interfacing through ISIS or Twain, or we can use multifunction devices. So let's start with interfacing with desktop scanners. I'm showing you an application here called Quick Capture Pro. This is just a application to interface with those scanners. And from here, just to show you the interface, I have those same buttons. Start a new report or append to an existing report that I've shown over and over again in the different capture workflows. I already have the existing report pulled up, and here I can search for an employee ID, which is my ID, see the resulting list of expense reports associated with that employee. So in this case, it's going to be the New York City trip. And I can go ahead now and put my paper in my scanner and start the scan process by clicking here. So as the scans come in, they'll be scanned one page at a time. There's some image cleanup will be done on those scanners based upon the scan settings that you have with the technology of the scanner. I have the thumbnails coming in here. I can preview the thumbnails. I can manipulate the image a little bit. I can rotate the pictures. I can do automatic despeckle and deskew. And I can go ahead and complete this index here. I can do things with this tool. I can split the 8 pages into maybe the first 3 pages, then for one document, the second document will be 2 pages, and the last document will be 3 pages. I have lots of different ways to rearrange these pages and so forth. But if I'm satisfied with my scan, I can go ahead and submit this through the workflow as if I had submitted it just the other ways, through the electronic submission, the mobile submission, and now the paper document submission. So lots of different ways to capture content. This was just yet another option to interface with desktop scanners. Lastly, using multifunction devices. A multifunction device provides a really rich user experience, and I'm going to show you the screenshot of a multifunction device here. It's showing me some nice intuitive buttons, scan to expense, and I have some other workflows that I would normally see on a multifunction device. When I click to scan to an expense report, I again get that common concept. Do I want to start a new report or scan to an existing one? In this case, I'm going to say scan to an existing one. And I'm going to get that search screen to pull up the applicable reports. So if I type in here maybe New York NYC for my trip to New York, I'm going to hit search. It's going to say it's found 2 records. I'm going to find the applicable record. I can now select my document type, maybe miscellaneous, put my documents in the MFD and hit scan. So using the multifunction device, I can quickly identify the expense report I need to scan to, add the metadata like the type of document, and scan away. What's nice about using the multifunction device is a lot of the scan settings are already pre-configured, so they're locked in at perhaps the quality of the image, 200 dpi, single-sided, double-sided. As an organization, you can ensure you get a nice, good quality, consistent scan. Now let's take a look at the final output. So I first started the workflow by creating a new expense report, identifying it based upon my employee ID, a friendly label, my trip to New York City, and the start and end date of my trip. I was then able to capture different documents along the way, from an electronic document that was sitting on my desktop, a picture of a receipt, an attachment to an email, and so forth. And I was also able to scan documents in the workflow. So lots of different ways to capture documents and organize them nice and neatly in a workflow. And this is just one way of processing expense reports and processing one workflow. We can certainly organize this not only by the employee ID, maybe the employee name, then maybe a subfolder for the date and the month, and then the friendly name of the expense. We could have had the user be prompted for the dollar amount at the time that they entered the expense. So there's lots of different ways that we could have organized the metadata to be prompted by the user at the time of capture. Additionally, AutoStore can automatically extract information off these documents. So if you wanted to validate perhaps a date on a document by looking for metadata as keywords on that document, OCR the document, read barcodes, and so forth. This is just one example. Today I just really wanted to focus on different ways to get content and documents into the organization. So in summary, we're able to capture content through a web browser, through a desktop client, a mobile interface, desktop scanners and production scanners, and multifunction devices. Now that is still only a few ways that NSI can capture content. NSI can still capture content through email, so we can watch emails and pull in emails directly as they come into the organization. We can process faxes coming in. We can capture content through data streams, through print streams, and a wide range of other mechanisms. I hope this helps understanding a little bit about NSI's universal enterprise capture capabilities. Thank you.